man who always online. Grab your headphones, it's review time. Music's the love and niche divine. Laughs and insights mixed like wine. Every strong and every beat. They analyze, they can't be beat. Tune in on the socials meet. Join the fun and take your seat. If music's your thing, come along. Hear a man sing her song. Chris brings the notes all day long. Together they make us strong.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to Song Swap Showdown, your weekly musical throwdown program here on Radio Garden State and everywhere else. YouTube, the Facebooks, any podcast stream, anywhere you can hear Radio Garden State, or you can listen to Song Swap Showdown in any of those places. If this is your first time checking out Song Swap Showdown, well, how our little program typically works is we each swap 3 songs with each other that we may or may not have heard before, and then we rate those songs on a scale of 1 to 5 records, with 1 being a hard skip, all the way up to 5 records, which we deem to be heavenly music to our ears, going on our eternity playlists. That's right, everybody. That is right. I am one of 2 of your hosts. My name is Chris, and I am joined by that girl, Miss Amanda Sharp.
Good morning, everyone. We have missed you all so much. So much. It
has been an eternity. For those of you who haven't been keeping up with us on social media, I mean, we've been trying to do our best to keep everybody updated. But just to fill you in super quick is, at the end of last year, which we consider to be season 4, I definitely had some big life changes in the way of I've got a new job. I've got a new full-time job. So that comes along with a bunch of new responsibilities and, of course, schedule changes. So Amanda and I took some time off to sort of recalibrate, refigure things out, figure out when we could do the show. So fortunately, as of now, it works out that we can kind of come back into the old time slot. For now, we're going to be doing an 8 to 9 o'clock show here live. So the show's going to be pretty much a 1-hour show, and we are going to do our best to entertain your pants off.
We're going to do your best to entertain your pants.
Right.
Off. Yeah, I mean, listen, we've been doing 2-hour shows for the last 2 years. So to condense it back into an hour. But listen, this is where we started. For those who have been on this long journey with us, we started doing like 45 minutes to an hour, and we managed to do it.
We did do it.
I feel like we can do it again. Today will be the tried and true test.
Yep.
But
today will be it.
I'm confident in us, Chris Baglio.
I'm confident in us. I'm confident in us, too. And I do appreciate everybody who's hung out with us. And for all the people, too, who, if you aren't catching us live, which we understand, the 8 to 9 or the morning time slot isn't always the best for everybody. Yeah. But we do appreciate everybody who's gone back and listened to the show on any podcast streaming platform, because our show is almost at 75,000 downloads as of today. We're just under 75,000 downloads on podcast platforms, that's insane to us.
It really is, because we went all seasons, like all of our seasons, until the middle of our season 4. Right. And all of a sudden you all did what you did, and we just started seeing these increases and increases. So we could not be at that number without you all. And thank you so much, because what a treat.
Yeah, it's an absolute treat, and we do appreciate you guys so much for hanging out with us and for just supporting the show and sharing it and showing up when we do the lives. Also, over on YouTube, too, we have just slowly and secretly almost reached 6,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel as well. So listen, if you're hearing this and you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, well, now's your chance. Head over to YouTube, Song Swap Showdown, use the link too in our notes, and subscribe, because we're almost at 6,000 there too. So that's impressive as well. So thank you for everybody who continues to still watch us on YouTube. I see some of our old videos, like videos we released over a year ago, still like people commenting and getting traction and all that. So good or bad, whatever comment you leave helps us. So thank you guys. We appreciate you.
They mostly are bad.
I think on some of them. I think the shorts we tend to get very positive comments, because it's usually about an artist that we like, and so people are like, oh, they're very fan centric, whereas the video reviews tend to inspire anger. from guys who like guitar-based music and don't like your takes on anything to do with stuff that they love.
That's right. And so,
They don't like your
today's
hot
show,
takes.
bring good or bad comments. I guess we'll have to see, Chris Baglio.
I guess we'll have to see. So today's theme, Amanda Sharp, what are we doing today? What is today's show theme?
We're going back 30-something years. And we're going back to 1992. Yes, you heard me right.
Oh, my God.
30-something years just to travel that quick little trip to 92. Doesn't it feel like it should only be like 10 years ago?
I know. It really doesn't feel like that long ago. It was 33 years ago, 1992. And quick look where I was at in 1992. I graduated high school and was starting college that year. My first year, freshman year of college at County College of Morris. That was 1992 for me. So graduating high school, making that big life transition from high school to college was that year for me. That was a very pivotal year.
I mean, the 90s were good. 80s were good. 90s were good.
Yeah.
2000s, I don't know. But so 1992 is where we're going. And I think based on our list, our 6 song choices, these are some popular songs that I think everyone will have a little bit of they'll have something to say about each song. They're all going to know them.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think.
I
mean,
think,
maybe one or two.
I think our audience will pretty much know all these songs. I mean, they were all hits to a point. I mean, the one song I gave you, I can't say it was a deep cut. I mean, it was a single released off that record, my last song to you. So it wasn't maybe the juggernaut of some of the other songs, but it was a single. And that record was enormous when it was, it got enormous. But I would say for the most part, I think everybody's going to recognize these songs, or at least the bands.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So 1992, we're coming from you.
Yeah, this was
coming
a really hard year because when you look at it, this was a great year for music. Obviously, we don't have to keep beating a dead horse with like how the early 90s and sort of like the rise of grunge and then, sort of like the death in a way of like the 80s hard rock metal sound and all that. But it was a big change in music. But when you look at what was charting back then and what was getting released, you really had a great mix of some of those legacy 80s type artists that came out like late 80s and dropped really good records, really great singles. And so it was a real like mix of like old and new together. And there was some there was a lot of really cool music released back then. And you could see how the change, it's just wild to go back and look to see like the different styles of music, and everything was blended and things were on the radio, and you could literally hear like you could hear the Analytic song, mixed in with like the Gin Blossoms, which we're going to talk, like there's a lot of the songs. And I know everybody kind of wanted me to maybe probably go heavier, which there were so much, but once again, I thought it'd be cool to kind of mix it up a little bit and take a little bit of a sampling of like what was coming out. I mean, we didn't even get into like, any R&B stuff that was out and the hip hop stuff. I mean, it was just insane year for music overall.
I agree. And you know what? I was a little lazy this week. I took Dave Mattingly's entire suggestion for me right off the board.
The VP
and said,
of the
here
VIPs.
You go. That's right. We've missed him tremendously. Yeah. And so I just sent that whole list to Chris and said, you know what? I'm going with it because these are really good picks.
He did have a very solid list. There was a bunch of people that left some solid lists. I know us, Mr. Scott Rewalt had a great list he left. I think Tony had something. So there were a lot of good. If you go over to our Facebook, you'll see some of the great picks. And man, it was hard. This was a hard week to pick songs from. But, listen, this won't be the last time, especially if you guys like the years, because it seems like that when I look back at like the stuff that you guys like when we talk about the years. So I'm sure this won't be the last time we revisit 1992 here on the show for sure. So, Amanda, let's dive in. Let's kick it off. Who's going first this week? Who are we? You
know what? Let's start a little creepy with your first choice to me.
What a transition.
Let's do. And what am I talking about? Creep by Radiohead.
Yes.
Oh, who doesn't know this song?
I mean,
who doesn't know this? I know this song.
See, that's the thing. Even you know this song. So I was actually on the fence. I said, I got a 50-50 shot of Amanda knowing this song. And I go, I'm pretty sure she knows this, but sometimes you surprise me. And you're like, I don't really know this song. But you know the song.
Spoiler, I knew all 3 of your songs to me this week, only because you had given me Take the Power Back by Rage Against the Machine for a different show.
Oh, I couldn't
not
remember.
a 1992. So I was like, oh, and I got some super thick thoughts on that song for this week in particular.
I figured you would.
Really hit the head on the nail for my feelings about some things.
Yes, it's gonna make the Working Through Life playlist, maybe.
For sure. For sure. So Creep by Radiohead. This song kind of makes me sad though.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, it does. Well, and when I looked at one thing about choosing popular songs is a lot of the data, the facts are on our buddy that we love to use, songfacts.com. So thank you for that, songfacts.com. And so the guy who wrote it, York.
Yeah, Tom York.
Yes, he had, he basically said it's hard being a man.
Mm-hmm.
Not like being a man, like obviously he's a man, but like hard trying to figure out, be normal with girls and just be able to go into relationships and not be that weird, that creep,
Weird, awkward.
Yes, which I think a lot of guys and even women can really relate to it. But then Greenwood, the guitarist, said from that he thinks it's more of a positive song.
Yeah. That
it's about accepting who you are.
Right.
But even accepting who you are sometimes can feel uncomfortable, especially when it comes to relationships. Relationships are hard to navigate.
Relationships are really hard. And, I think it's totally, and it's so awkward. And and honestly, you do feel weird. Like, I know that I'm weird and I'm a nerd and geek and all that stuff. But like, I think we all have like a certain part of ourselves that we're like, oh my God, we're just, quote unquote, the creep. Not creep in a negative, but you know what I mean. Like, you're just kind of like really uncomfortable with yourself.
But that is, I think, the part of the song that to me is just so much. Creep is such a powerful word.
Is. I feel like even more so creepy in these times.
Yeah, like it can mean a lot of things about a person. So if I use the word creep as a descriptive word for somebody, it means nothing good.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean awkward.
Yeah, I think today. I think today in today's day and age, creep and creeper is definitely different. I mean, I feel like it's much more powerful. Like,
yeah, for sure. And so, but I mean, when you think about this song and just the parallel with a relationship, I mean, remember being that awkward first time holding someone's hand in a relationship?
All of it's weird and awkward.
The first awkward kiss, and then everything becomes very like normal. It's not awkward anymore, but those beginning stages of any relationship can just be so bizarre and so weird. A lot of awkward dancing going on.
Yeah, it's all bizarre at front, and you think back to times like how like much you overthought some of the things, like oh, should I hold hands or should I go in for the kiss or should like all the little things now that like obviously as you're with somebody for a long time, like it's so like commonplace, but like the first times for all that stuff is like you literally obsess over, and then you're like, I don't want to come off as a creep, I don't want to come off as a weirdo, like and like that's why I agree with a lot of the songs like that. I think back to all those times and with anybody I was ever with, and you're like all those first times of trying to work up the courage to do that thing, so that way then you're like, oh my God, like if you don't do it, is it okay? Like it's
And let's be very honest, back in 1992, the year that we're talking about, this really was very one-handed on the man's side. The man is the one who typically made that first move to hold a hand or smooch somebody. The women very seldomly made first moves. I mean, men usually asked women out. So back then, like the pressure was on you guys, and I'm sorry for that. That had to be a lot of pressure for you men.
I accept your apology on behalf of all men.
You have been seen and heard.
Yes, I do. I feel seen and very heard. And yeah, I mean, this song, I remember when this song came out, and I'm a huge Radiohead fan. My wife and I, Rachel, we've seen Radiohead, especially back in the day, so many times. We had so many like actually magical shows, like seeing them in some different venues. And I remember when this came out, and this song in particular, and the video on MTV, and just that part in that song, that which is like hilarious to know now that was like them trying to like ruin the song. And they hate this song. I mean, this song was such a big hit and like landed them. And at first it flopped, and it became a big hit, especially here in America. And they always hate. They very rarely. I think only recently. Well, they haven't played together as a band in a while, but for a long time they didn't even put this in the set because they absolutely hated playing the song. They loathed "Creep." Absolutely loathed it. They did not want to play it at all anymore because they thought it was a shitty song and just wanted to move on from it. And it's, you know, and it's, once again, this has been a repeating theme over the years, right? Like these artists that have a huge song and then they like loathe the song and like regret playing it or don't want to play it anymore. But it's like the song that like people like because they remember that was their entry point into the band, like their gateway. And it's like, if they didn't have this song, like, I don't know, you know, it's like so crazy.
Yeah.
Like this record's great. Pablo Honey's a great record, but Creep is like the standout song on this record. And like, you know, and obviously Radiohead went on to do amazing things and became such a significant, important band. But like, I don't know, does any of that happen if Creep doesn't hit, you know, like if Creep doesn't get them over?
Yeah. I think, like, to your point, it's so often how many times the song that put people on the map is the one that they really don't like.
Yeah, I know.
And listen, if that happened to me, I'm accepting it all day long. And I will play that song until the day that I die.
Yeah, you'll play it. All right. You want to hear a little Creep? Just we'll play a little bit of it.
Play a little bit.
Let's play a little bit. I'm gonna move it forward a little bit. All right, here we go. You guys don't know this song. Here it is.
In a beautiful world, I wish I was special.
I think this is a good time to also say don't forget to watch it.
But I'm a creep.
The best. It's so great though.
And check out our new playlist.
What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here.
So that's a little bit of Creep right there for those one or two people who've never heard that song. But it's a great song. I'm always impressed too when there's cover bands in the area here that we'll see and they'll do this song and it's always like, all right, let me see, because obviously, you know, Tom York's vocals are insane and like he gets up there. I mean, he's got such a high register and I'm like, for you to be a cover band and to do this song, man, you better be bringing your A game, because there's a band here called 90s Night and they are awesome.
Ooh.
And their singer is so versatile and he can sing all the high notes and everything, and they do this song and he nails as a band now, he nails the vocals like insane. And if you're a band and you're doing this as your cover song, whew, boy, you better bring your A game because you are being judged.
The pressure. We've done plenty of cover episodes and we talk about that all the time. The confidence you have to do.
Yeah.
Or have to do such a popular song.
So good. So good. All right. So I see Dave. I brought it up. Good morning, Dave. Love you.
Hey, good morning.
In the spirit of keeping this show to an hour,
which we're already struggling with.
We're already struggling, but we're going to do it, guys. We're going to do it.
Yep.
Where are you rating this song on a scale of 1 to 5 records?
Oh my gosh. It's been so long that I forgot we did that part of the show.
Yeah.
Okay. 1 to 5
the
records.
rating, the actual showdown part of the show.
The ratings matter. They sure do. You know what? I'm going to give this one like a 3.9.
3.9. Look at you.
Yeah, I'm feeling generous this morning.
Okay. So a 3.9 for Creep. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
very
because
good.
I don't want to listen to this one often, you know?
I love this song. I can listen to it all the time.
I know. But it is a little like
melancholy for you.
Melancholy, yes. Great word. Yes.
This might be on your working through life playlist.
For sure.
There
Perfectly nestled in there.
Perfectly nestled in there. So of course, as we do, play along with us at home, the game of Song Swap Showdown. You can play this with your friends, family, neighbors. Rate these songs on a scale of 1 to 5 records. What do you guys think of Radiohead's Creep on a scale of 1 to 5 records, with 1 being a hard skip and 5 being heavily music to yours, making your eternity playlist. All right. I also want to say thank you real quick to Mr. Ian from Australia. He said, great to have the dynamic duo back. Yes. We are very happy to be back. And of course, Dave and Amanda Dave and Ian, left all kinds of great song suggestions for us, which we will try to get to as we go along. Amanda, your very first song to me this week is Annie Lennox. Broken. Is that it?
Know it.
That's the first song, right? I got that right.
Yes.
Annie Lennox, Walking on Broken Glass. This is a really good song, and I think I don't want to say Annie Lennox gets forgotten because no one. How could you forget Annie Lennox? What a voice! Obviously,
but you're kind of right.
I feel like as time has gone on, like people know this song, but I don't feel like I don't know. It's tough. Like, do people remember this record? Like Annie Lennox's first solo record outside of Eurythmics, Diva, which was I mean, the whole record itself is pretty good. I mean, it's a great solo record. I mean, of course, everybody knows Eurythmics and what she did with Dave Stewart there and all that. Great band. So many great songs. But her going off on her own and really switching up sort of like what she was doing with Eurythmics and doing this was I know it was a big risk for her. And she did it, and she made an amazing record. But I feel like, and I know, listen, it's 2025, right? And Annie Lennox,
right?
I can't say, I hate to say this, and I don't want to be negative, but I don't think she's not a relevant artist that I think a lot of younger people are discovering now. I could be wrong with that. I could be wrong.
I don't know. We often say in this show all the time, like, does it stand the test of time? Does a voice? Does it something? Like, and there is. While there's something so amazing about her and her voice, there is something a little dated about it.
I mean,
can cause it to stay within a century and not go into the new one, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel like it's a product of the times for sure. I mean, like we just listened to Radiohead and like that sound is very 90s, like. But I still feel, I mean, that song is still played so regularly on rock radio.
Yes.
Like we talked about cover bands, like I can go to pretty much almost any night, go see a bar band, especially if they're doing like 90s and 2000s covers, and if they've got the chops, they'll do Creep. I don't really hear anybody covering Annie Lennox's, and because it's a pop song, I get it, but like, is it a pop song? It's a well-crafted pop song. It's very good, and of course, like, once again, Annie Lennox, legendary voice, unbelievable talent.
Yeah,
but like, is it a song that holds up? I'm not sure, but I like it. I've always liked this song. I've always liked Annie Lennox. I've always liked the song, and this record, Diva, is great. So I think that when we, like you said, to your point, when we talk about songs that hold up, I mean, I'm of the. I'm going to say it holds up because I like the song, but I don't know objectively if it holds up from
I don't know if your girls,
I don't know.
If your girls would be into this.
Yeah, I don't know if they would. I don't know. I don't think they'd be like, okay, this is whatever. I don't know. It's a good litmus test.
It really is. And I think part of it too, if we break it down, I mean, walking on broken glass is not something that's necessarily like said anymore.
No, I don't think so.
And so I think the reference may be lost a little bit too. Yeah.
But I think the
version, even though it's about a breakup.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the theme though is pretty relevant. I mean, Taylor Swift writes songs about breakups all the time. Like,
yeah, but it's she chooses more like modern day language, I think, to use. I think the phrase is dated, and that could be part of the problem.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, the music video for this is really good. I mean, Dangerous Liaisons, like based off of that.
Yeah.
It was directed by Sophie Muller, who's a great director. It's very, very visual. It's a very good like music video when they used to make like elaborate music videos back in the day.
Yeah.
And one of the facts on this, Amanda, was that while this didn't do very well on MTV, it did very well on VH1, which you were allowed to watch.
That's why I know this video. It's one of the best jokes. If you're new here, I was raised not being able to watch MTV, but VH1 was somehow acceptable. I don't know. So trashy. I was able to see. It seemed less trashy, according to my mom.
Yeah. All right. So for those of you that maybe don't remember this song, and maybe for some of our younger, because we do apparently, according to our demographics, have a lot of younger listeners. Here's a little bit of Walking on Broken Glass, because I think you guys might dig this one if you haven't heard it before. It is a good tune. Here we go.
Won't you pick the pieces up, 'cause it feels just like I'm walking on broken glass. Walking on broken glass.
Very 90s.
The sun's still shining in the big blue sky, but it don't mean nothing to
Fun.
It's a great song.
Oh, let the
right, so that's a little bit of "Walking on Broken Glass" by Lennox. I think it's a fine song. I've always this is tough. I've always liked the song. I think it's great. I actually really like this record a lot. Does it hold up? I don't know if it holds up. I think the song could stand for a really good update because the song itself is good. I would love to see maybe a current artist take this song and cover it, redo it, maybe bring it up to date. Like I would love to see like a Dua Lipa like cover the song. I think she'd do a great version of this song. Actually, she'd be great.
I think this could easily be country, but if you slowed it down a little bit, I think lyrically it could be very countrified.
Interesting.
Slowed down though, like not the pop version,
right?
But a very
okay.
I mean, because the "Let the Wind Blow Through Me," like there's a lot of things lyrically that you could have found in a country song for sure.
So I'm gonna rate this song.
All right.
On a 3.6. I'm going to give it a 3.6. I still really like the song, and I hadn't listened to it in a very long time, to be honest with you, until, I can't even remember the last time I heard "Walking on Broken Glass." Even on the radio or anything. Like, I listen to a lot of Sirius XM, and I didn't even hear it on rotation, at least in some of the channels I listen to, maybe some of the other channels, it does come up a little bit more. But I still like the song. I like it a lot. So I'm going to give it a 3.6 because it's a cool song. I don't know if in the current state of music it's something that holds up. But yeah, I think it's due for an update. That's what I like that. I would love to see somebody update it.
Hey, and if you're new to season 5 here on the Song Swap Showdown, a 3-point rating is good. It's very average. It's good. Yeah. So anything high 3s is doing good. 4s is that exceptional range, Right. So anything in the 3s is very good as far as a rating go if you're new here.
Yep.
All right. Moving on to Chris's second song to me. Hey Jealousy by Gin Blossoms.
This is my karaoke go-to. This is like the one karaoke song that I do. And
okay, how many beverages?
It's terrible, but I do it.
How many beverages do you need in you to get up that liquid courage to hit the Gin Blossoms?
Probably about 2 or 3.
That's not bad.
It's like 3 White Claws or something like that.
So, all right. So 3 White Claws in. Chris is doing a very good version of Hey Jealousy.
I wouldn't say
Jim
very good. I'll say Chris is doing a version of Hey Jealousy. I'm not saying it's
I'm sure it could be up there in the best of covers of this song.
Okay, sure. We'll go with that alternate reality.
I'm sure of it. This is very sad.
It is, and the Gin Blossoms have a very sad story, unfortunately.
Story behind it.
Yeah. It's all
according to, again, songfacts.com. It was written by the guitarist, right? Doug. And his old girlfriend, he wanted to, reconcile.
Doug Hopkins. I don't know where some Peterson. Doug Hopkins, yeah. Very, very guy has a very tragic story. Very troubled. Just couldn't, just couldn't kick the booze habit.
The booze, and at 32 or 33, he decided to end his own life, which is so tragic because we know that age is such a baby age when you think about it. I mean, baby. Yeah. And I'm so sad that he felt that was his option. So the story behind this and that band, very tragic.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, this is a band that this song was huge and was a song he wrote. Very big song. I mean, still, I find this song to be very real. I love the Gin Blossoms, by the way. Like, they are, especially this record, is great, and they've got so many great records. The New Miserable Experience, I love the Gin Blossoms. I think they got great sound, great power pop, alt rock, just very cool stuff. Doug Hopkins, great songwriter who wrote a good part of that record. And unfortunately, just he was kicked out because of his alcohol abuse, and basically had to watch from the sidelines as Hey Jealousy, a song he wrote,
continued to
catapulted the band and the whole thing, and obviously it led to all the stuff with him being depressed and all that. But this is a record that the song is huge, still huge. I mean, I watch when bands do this. Once again, I love when I go to see these great cover bands and they do the song, and you see people of all ages singing this song. I see young people singing Hey Jealousy.
Yep.
You know,
and I think you can
20-somethings
rotate
now.
a radio station, and this is a very good chance it could be playing on the radio still. Very, very good
Absolutely.
chance.
Still very relevant
And
song, I think, in the world of like mainstream radio and all
agreed.
that. And like I said,
Agreed. And I
you go to a bar and people put it on, a jukebox, it comes like
absolutely.
it shows up a lot.
And what a hard decision, like knowing that he committed suicide and as a band still playing that song. I
Yeah.
mean, think of how every time it's played. And so Song Swap did say that every time they play it as a tribute to him.
Yeah.
And so I'm grateful that that legacy is moving forward, even if he wasn't a part of the band at the time that it started to catapult them into a wonderful direction. But yeah, it's just tragic. Very tragic. But the song itself, I really like.
It's a great song.
It's the cadence to it, the vocals of it. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I don't think I've
extremely
ever
catchy.
turned this song.
No, it's an extremely catchy song. I mean, you could hear the song in Target. You know, this is a Target song.
Yes.
But I got to
But
tell
you
you,
could
every time,
also hear it in a bar.
right, every time it comes on, you sing it. You know the words. You know.
Mhm. Well, I don't know the
we
words,
could
but I
drive around
sing
this
it as
town.
if
Let
I
the cops
do.
chase us around. Oh
I
my
know
God.
that.
It's
But
so
the other
good.
parts of the song I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I got, for me, like when this was released in 92, I mean, originally released in 89 and then they re-recorded obviously for New Miserable Experience. And that's when it really hit.
Mhm.
I have such good memories with this song when it came out and just being into it and being on radio on like a group of my friends. And it was on, back then mixtapes, like, but like it was always on like mixtapes. And I think I was dating this girl at the time and we used to crank this song and literally drive around. Like it was, it's brings back a lot of really fun memories, and it's a song that I love, and it's one that I'll sing on karaoke. One of the two songs that I'll sing in karaoke. But
I like it.
yeah, it's an awesome tune. I mean, it really is. So let's see. I'll play a little bit of it. Let me play a little bit of "Hey Jealousy" for once again for those people, the one or two people that have never heard "Hey Jealousy." It's such a fun song though too. Like it just gets you right into it.
Jealousy, hey jealousy, hey jealousy. You can trust me not to think and not to sleep around.
And that's the lyric they changed too, because it was "You trust me not to drink."
Might not really down, 'cause all I really wants to be with you.
I mean, there's so much good about this song. That, I gotta be honest with you, Amanda, in my world, that's a 5-record song. That is on an eternity playlist song for me.
Well,
for me, that's my personal rating.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see where it is for you. But like I said, I got a lot of emotional attachments to this song.
Well, and I can see why. I mean, even for me, who this is not a 5-record song for, but it has very frequent like memories throughout my life.
Right.
So I mean, over the last decades, it's been around. So for that, I gotta give it in that 4-point range for sure, just because when I like it. 2, it's just continues to linger with me, which is fun. So I'm gonna give it a 4.5, and I think that's really pretty fair, right?
I think that's very fair. 4.5 is very good. So it's almost an eternity playlist song, but just not quite. But I think 4.5 is good. Very good.
Yeah. It's very, very good. I just don't want to be on a desert island with this song.
Yeah, I could.
But I could be on a road trip with this song. There's the difference.
Right. I get the difference. I get the difference. So what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments or wherever, especially if on Spotify too, because I have a little thing where you can actually talk to us on Spotify. Let us know what you think of this song, Hey Jealousy, on a scale of 1 to 5 records. We'd love to hear what you think. All right. Moving into your number 2 song for me, Amanda.
Ooh, yes.
Wow, this was one that I had completely forgotten about, and this was a huge, huge song. This was everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
And I am talking about In Vogue with My Lovin', You're Never Gonna Get It, off of the Funky Divas record. What a tune, man. This one. This was a song that was everywhere. This was on MTV. You would go down to Jersey Shore. It was playing on like every like boardwalk stand. This was a banger back in the day. I personally still feel like it is a banger. It's probably dated a bit now with the sound, but it's a good song. It's a good dance R&B song, like really good. And In Vogue, what an immense amount of talent right there.
You're not kidding, and I'm telling you, I used to skate my heart out to this song.
Yes,
it was so fun to skate to this song, and I sang it like I knew it. I danced to it like I knew how to dance more than a shoulder bop. You know what I'm saying? It just was. It was a staple back in the day. And I still think there's some nostalgia to it. So when it pops on, people pop on it.
Yeah. This song was when it was released, it was the 4th #1 R&B hit for In Vogue. Their next single after that was a cover of Aretha Franklin's giving him Something He Could Feel. And I also reached #1, but was their last R&B chart topper. My Lovin' also climbed the #2 on the Hot 100, where it stayed for 3 weeks, only held back by Crisscross. Jump. Crisscross is gonna make it jump. Jump. Another great.
Which was also another great song.
One. Yeah, it did. In Vogue never did land #1 on a chart, but had 2 other songs reach #2. Hold On and Don't Let Go Love. The track is built on a sample, for those of you that don't know, of the James Brown song "The Payback." And as according to Song Facts, the song has become one of the most memorable a cappella breakdowns in pop music history. It is great.
That breakdown isn't iconic.
It is.
I mean,
it is great.
I become a member of In Vogue when that breakdown comes on. I mean, I am there with those girls.
I mean, it's great. It's a great song.
So good.
And like most In Vogue songs, this was written and produced by the Oakland team of Denzel Foster and Thomas McElroy, former members of Club Nouveau, who started working with In Vogue on their debut album, Born to Sing. So there you go.
So good. And I think they were born to sing.
I think
Go
so.
girls.
I think so. I mean, this is a great tune. I see, this is another thing. Like, how is this song holding up in today's? I feel like it's a little dated sound wise, production, but then you hear it and man, it is so damn catchy.
It's
so catchy.
Like, I would like to know your girls factor. You know, their thoughts on this.
Yeah,
I'm sure they know it though.
There used to be a song that I used to hear at like weddings a lot too, but like,
I don't
know if it's really played anymore at weddings.
I don't know. I guess I haven't heard it on the TikTok lately either.
Yeah, so I don't know.
This one could have a comeback though.
It could be due for a number. Once again, I would love to see a Dia Lupa or you got to really have the all girl. You got to have the girl, like the woman, the ensemble. Yeah, and so that would be a good, what was it? What was it? Was it the Moulin Rouge song where you had like Pink and I can't even remember. It was was Jessie J in that? It was like a whole there was 4 singers together doing.
Yeah, Christina Aguilera was in it.
You know what song I'm talking about, right?
Yes. A Lady Marmalade.
Yeah, Lady Marmalade. Like that would be something I would love to see with this song now. I think it would be a good update with
collective.
a great, all getting together and doing this update in this song would be cool. So, all right, so listen. If you guys have never heard My Lovin', You're Never Gonna Get It. Oh my gosh, you guys are missing out because this is a great song. So I'll play a little bit of it right now.
You haven't heard it anymore.
It's a great
sample
too.
Hear it. I can't hear it. There's no music.
Let's try that again.
I'm trying to bop like I know where it's going and I don't.
You're trying to bop. All right, let's
trying
do
to
it again.
do the deep bop.
There we go.
Here we go.
What makes you think you can just
This is a good one, man. Like,
oh, good.
You definitely forget about some of these tunes just because you don't hear them all the time.
Yes,
but man,
the ladies are gorgeous,
slamming tune. Yeah, using a James Brown sample, genius. Song's very catchy. It is definitely a good sing along. Like you got to be dead inside if you're not moving to this song. I mean, come on.
You're right.
I mean, Jesus.
And feeling it.
Yeah, you got to be feeling it. So
yes.
I like this song. It was really, once again, really cool hearing a song I hadn't heard in a while and remembering, man, this is a really good song. And I think I appreciate it now older than I did then. In 92, I wasn't listening to... I was on the radio and it was a good song, but it wasn't something I was like, oh, like what? It was good. I don't think I remember turning it off, but it wasn't like something I was listening to then because I was definitely rock metal and even like starting to dive into like my heavy punk and hardcore phase at that point. But like, older wise, you really appreciate the talent level of the song and how well written and crafted it is. So, once again, I'm going to give this one, I'm going to give it in the high 3s on this one. I'm going to do better than Annie Lennox because I feel like the song does hold up a bit more than Walking on Broken Glass.
I would agree.
So I'm going to give this song just shy of a 4. I'm going to give it a 3.9 for In Vogue.
I appreciate that. Thank you,
because
sir.
I feel like, once again, using a James Brown sample, that stuff is timeless to me. And I do feel like this is another song that is due for a really good, like, upgrade in the sense of like just to bring it to another audience, a new audience. And I would love to see like Christina Aguilera. Like I'd love to see an ensemble redo this song. I think it'd be dope. It'd be really cool. Be very cool. So, all right, let's do this. Let's go through before we hit our third and final tunes. Let's go through some of the comments that we've gotten today.
Love it.
All right. So as always, our friends Ian and Dave also throw in some choices for us, additions to what we have chosen today. So let's run through this really quick. So Mr. Ian from Australia has chosen for me, I Had a Dream, Joe, by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, which Nick Cave around this time was doing some really good music. I agree. Nick Cave in the 90s, early 90s. Great music. Tip of My Tongue by Diesel, and I Ain't Gonna Eat My Heart Out No More by the Divinals. Which is another video you and I made about 3 years ago, and still getting views on YouTube. Crazy to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
For Amanda, he picks The Day You Went Away by Wendy Matthews, Heaven Knows by Rick Price, and The Road by James Blundell.
Okay.
That's what it is. Okay. And then also he's picking for Dave. For Dave, Happy Birthday, Helen, Things of Stone and Wood, Father's Day by Weddings, Parties, Anything. I think, do I have that right? Weddings, Parties, Anything. Straight to You, Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Very good. I love it.
Thank you. And then Dave, of course, has got his picks for us. Chris, Cracker, Teen Angst, L7, Pretend We're Dead. 2 of these songs were almost on my list too. Pretend We're Dead and Soup Dragon's Divine Thing. I had, in variations of my list, I did have some Soup Dragons and L7 on there too. Cracker was a band that I kind of was like, I enjoyed, but I was never a big fan. But that song, Teen Angst, is a good one. Dave, these are all solid choices. For Amanda, which of course is what you're using today for your list, Annie Lennox, Walking on Broken Glass, In Vogue, My Lovin', Never Gonna Get It, and Tears for Fears, Sowing the Seeds of Love. And bonus songs, R.E.M., Man on the Moon, Cure, Love Song,
so good.
Genesis, I Can't, and Genesis in the early 90s, putting out bangers. U2, Mysterious Ways, Right Said Fred, I'm Too Sexy, Suzanne Vega, Blood Makes Noise, Stereo MCs. I forgot all about Stereo MCs, what connected. Like, man, I'm telling you, the early 90s, this list alone shows you how eclectic the 90s were with bands. And you really had some of the older legacy acts still releasing some really cool music in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, Amanda, my third and final song to you this week is the Anger Anthem off of one of the greatest records in my eyes, ears. It was Rage Against the Machine's first record, which is Rage Against the Machine. That is a band that made a big impact on me, have strong ties to the hardcore world. What a banger of a record. Absolute fire record when it was released. I was fortunate to see Rage Against the Machine back in the day before they really, really blew up. And I had forgotten that I gave you this song, but I'm glad I did because I know that this week was a week in particular that you really needed this song.
Yeah, well, Take the Power Back is a song Per songfacts.com.
Per songfacts.com.
Per songfacts.com. Forced ideals in the U.S. How government want their citizens to conform to the ideal American dream. Don't agree with it? You can be considered a terrorist. And you know what? How timely for the U.S. government to try and take away my beloved TikTok.
That's right. Where Amanda has like 10 billion followers. Follow her at Amanda Sharp on TikTok.
And let me tell you, the American people, those TikTok users, middle fingered the government. And we took our power back. And so this is like the anthem for me this week. Like, heck yeah. Like we did that. We got it back. They were scared enough that they knew they had to do something. I don't care who you think was behind getting it back. It doesn't matter to me. We just deserved it back, and we got it back. And even if it's just temporarily while they figure out all the things behind the scenes, this song I just felt it in my spirit this week when you gave it to me, Chris Baglio. So like, it cannot be 5 records for me because it's just not a me song, but it's a working through life song. It's taking my power back song. It's my fight song this week. So I'm just jumping ahead to my score, and it's getting a 4.5 from me this week.
Wow, 4.5. I really hit the.
And we haven't even got to play it yet.
I know. I really hit the emotional heart. But you know what? This is a great record, and this was, when you dial it back to the early 90s, this was sort of like the beginning. I mean, of course, we can talk about Anthrax and Public Enemy and all that, and they're doing their collab with Bring the Noise and, you know, sort of the rock and metal, or the hip hop and metal. Rage Against the Machine, when this came out, I know it seems passe to say, but I mean, honestly, this was a great mix that like most people never heard before. And Zach De La Rocha, lead singer, he's got such incredible flow. And the whole band playing like their Black Sabbath and like Led Zeppelin type riffs. I always loved on this, when you read the liner notes on this record, it used to say, all noises and sounds made on this record were not made by machines, but actually Rage Against the Machine. So anything you hear is not like samples or anything like that. It's
even
all,
like the beep.
Yep, all guitar.
That's crazy.
All guitar. That's Tom Morello, and they took a lot of the sounds that DJs and things like that would make, and they just made it. They did it with their instruments. Obviously, depending on, you know, not everybody aligns with their politics and all that, but that being aside, political affiliations and what they believe in, great band, great musicians, absolute fire banger of a record. Still holds up in my eyes today. Often replicated, never duplicated.
No, I cannot. It's a lot to try and duplicate. First and foremost, I mean, there's a lot of layers. I did not realize it was all band funded noise wise. I think that's very impressive because there is so much to that. But as far as does it hold up, the message behind it absolutely holds up.
Absolutely. So, all right, let's play a little bit of Take the Power Back for those of you.
And continue taking the power back, people. We the people.
The white light study comes inside with a system that dissed us. Teaches us to read and write so-called facts of fraud. He wants to electric play your mouth down into their guards. Lost the culture lost. Spun on our minds and through time. Ignorance is taking over. Yo, we gotta take the power back. Bam! Here's the plan, motherfucker. Go Sam's, get back. I know who I am. Raised up the ear, drop the style like clear. It's the beats and the lyrics they fear. The rage is relentless. We need to move it with the quickness. You are the witness of change and the counteract. We gotta take the power back. We gotta take the power back. Come on, come on. We gotta take the power back.
Oh man,
The present curriculum.
so freaking good. There's a great breakdown in this song too. That slams. Everything about this record's awesome.
It's how long? That's a longer song. What is
it's
the
about
actual
5.5
time on
minutes.
that?
It's about 5.5 minutes.
It's a longer song.
Yeah.
But I feel like it helps you work through your little, like your moment of frustration, and then by the time it's done, you're like, okay, all right, I did something just now, and I feel okay. But I mean, I can feel. Yeah, it took the power back. And can't you just see this song being used on some sort of march in a movie or something like that, where people are just marching in unity?
There's a lot of
taking
places.
their power back.
There's a lot of places this song could work.
It's
sure.
good. So I want to be very clear. I'm not necessarily a Rage Against the Machine type of fan. I think that comes at no surprise to anybody.
Right.
But this song in particular.
Dave is saying Rage Against the Machine never specified what type of machine. It was probably a printer. Dave. Yeah.
The old-fashioned one that was like, the old printer that,
yeah. Dot matrix printer. Oh, that's
great.
funny,
Dave. We've missed you, Dave.
Yeah, I missed you too, Dave. Oh, man. All right, here we go, guys. Last song. Our final, however many minutes we have left here. 7 minutes. Here we go. Last tune of the day. Sowing the Seeds of Love by Tears for Fears. What a cool band. Another band, too, that I think that I've actually made this mistake thinking that this was a song that was late 80s. And I think what it was is this song was released in the 80s or late 80s, but the song charted in the 90s or something like that. Anyway, it's a very cool song. Mm-hmm. And this was a worldwide smash hit for the band. Their other big hit was Shout and Everybody Wants to Rule the World were great songs. But this song actually charted in 9 countries besides the U.S. and U.K., and most of those were in the top 10. So in the U.S., it's charted number 2. This title was inspired by an English folk song, The Seeds of Love, which they heard about in a radio program about folk tunes. As the story goes, Cecil Sharp, a noted scholar and collector of folk songs, overheard a gardener named John England humming the obscure tune as he mowed the lawn and persuaded him to recall the lyrics. That tale inspired the lead singer's Roland Orzabal's own lyric, Mr. England sowing the seeds of love. It's a very cool music video too, by the way.
It's the music video's definitely got that dated feel to it.
Yes,
yes,
very 80s.
Very
80s, late 90s, early 90s, I mean.
Yeah, and when I guess I didn't know this song by title when Dave sent it to me. Mm-hmm. And then when I put it on, even when I started it, that first beginning, I didn't even necessarily recognize.
Right.
But then, 15 seconds into it, I was like, oh my gosh, I do know this song.
Yeah, definitely
and
very
honestly, it very much so. And what a good message it has in it.
Yeah, it's a great message.
Great message.
I feel like this is a song that, I think a lot of people always think of the other two, Shout and and Everybody Wants to Rule the World. But, this is a good tune that
unity message.
Yeah, it charted really well. It's a cool song, and this whole record's great. Tears for Fears were a great band, and I love the Outfield, which was sort of the side project band. But let's listen to a little bit of "Sowing the Seeds of Love" for those of you. Yeah, I am the walrus.
Get a lighter.
Yeah, and especially when you get into the third Oasis record, that you start hearing a lot of, because obviously Oasis is very inspired by the Beatles, but you do hear a lot of this stuff carry over into that third Oasis record where it was just but go back and listen to the third Oasis record and you'll hear this. It's it all goes back to the Beatles though, right? Everything goes back to the Beatles.
Everything goes back to the Beatles.
Goes back. It's impossible. How could you escape it?
Agreed.
But it's a cool song. I like it. For me, it wasn't, I like the song. It's cool. It's basically, to me, feels like a tribute to the Beatles. Nothing wrong with that. I get why it was a big hit. I personally am I could kind of it's not a song I go to from Tears for Fears. Great record though. It's just it's a cool song for me.
Yeah.
So this one I'm going to rate a little bit lower. It's in the 3s.
Okay.
So I'm going to give this one a 3.4 because
Okay.
while not a bad song at all, it's just not something that, I don't know, in hindsight, it's not, I know it was a global hit, but I think maybe people were just yearning for Beatles-esque kind of tunes back then.
Maybe.
And I think in the world of what was coming out, it stood out really well. And I think it made people very nostalgic for the Beatles. And obviously then Oasis, only a few short years later, would dominate the entire world with their very heavy Beatles inspired sound, which I just, just because people want Beatles music. And if you could make it close to the Beatles and it sounds good enough, people are like, this is great. We'll take it.
Well, and I think the messages in most of the Beatles songs too. I mean, it's just the point behind their music is so important, and I think the point behind this song was very important. So I like it. Listen, I'm not going to do the math because Chris clearly won this episode of Song Swap Showdown. Well done, Chris Baglio. You are the king of 1992.
The king of 1992. No, but this was a really great playlist. This was a great musical journey to go back through all these songs that I think people just, haven't thought about in a while. I know I hadn't thought about any of the 3 songs you gave me in a while. And it was really fun going back and listening to them all. It really was. This was a fun episode to curate music for. It really was good. And I like doing the Time Machine episodes. I think they're fun. I hope you guys like them too.
It just makes me feel old.
Dave's saying my first time scoring 3 for 3 and I'm on the Amanda meter.
Dave, listen, your list was so helpful this week. I just finally said, you know what? I'm just going cut, paste, and send.
He's just doing it. So, all right, guys. Well, that wraps up this week's episode of Song Swap Showdown. We appreciate everybody listening today. Make sure if you do like what you heard here, a couple quick things. Hit that subscribe button over on YouTube because it does make a huge difference. It's a very, very small action that literally takes you 3 seconds to do. For us, it makes a really big deal. Also, hitting that follow button too, wherever you listen to this podcast. Of course, we want you to make sure that you keep listening to Radio Garden State. Lots of great music here all day long. Keep it tuned right here to Radio Garden State. You can listen on the Odyssey app, TuneIn app, and of course, RadioGardenState.com. And just as another thing, I know for the longtime listeners of the show, we usually wrap the show up by doing the Wheel of Show themes. So in the spirit of, once again, trying to keep the show a little bit shorter, we're going to be doing the Wheel of Show themes over on social media. So make sure you follow us over on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Song Swap Showdown, where we will post our pick for next week's show. So follow us over there. That's where we'll be spinning the wheel from now on. Amanda, any final words on our first show from 2025, for 2025?
It was fun, and I'm so glad that we got one under our belt, and now we're in season 5. We're officially in season 5.
It's official, guys. It's official. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We will see you next week. Make sure you tune in here on YouTube, Facebook, and, of course, Radio Garden State, where you can listen to us live. Keep it tuned here. Great music all day long. We will see you guys next week. Cheers, everybody. Bye.